Aloha! And I hope everyone is having a wonderful week. Whew! That full moon was powerful, but people who understand about things of using energy and how it's really benefits for your mind, body, and spirit. But sometimes when energy is so strong and you're very, like, an HSP person, a highly sensitive person, or if you're an empath or somebody that's very, sensitive to their surroundings, will get affected a lot more. And so it's just like the weather forecast, right? If it's going to rain, we're going to be prepared. If it's going to storm, we're going to be prepared. If there's going to be a heat wave, we're going to be prepared. So it's the same thing in energy forecasts. And so what I do in between my forecasts, as I say, because I really don't want to use the word prediction because people is like, I told you, but everyone is different. Everybody's energy level is different. Everybody has different ways and how to manifest the best condition, how to use it within yourself. And so that's where I come in and I teach you the tools and how to use it the best way to get the best results, because not every day is unicorns and sunshine and rainbows and all that. It is, but it takes practice, number one. It takes energy, and it takes the right kind of to bring it on. Because sometimes when we feel that, oh my God, like this week, I started off on Lily on the 17th when my mom came to pick me up. We went to go, and our first year, the beginning of the year, January, I took mom to go see our ancestor. She goes every single month to pay respect to my dad and talk story with him and tell him what's going on, which is super duper cute. You know what I mean? And so, I went with my mom and we did our thing. And, I was grocery shopping with her. And my back started to hurt. Why? Because it's funny, because I started to grow back my orchid hobby. I love growing orchids back in my place in Beverly Hills, where I had tons of orchids and gardenia, as well as bird of paradise. And I had my little place where I meditate, and heaven is over there in her little doggy bed. And so that was like my little meditation corner. So really, it's not I don't have a place or this or that. This is one of my places. This is this is my comfy. I put over here and it feels like I'm in a crib. My friends comes over, it's like, oh my God, I feel like I'm in a crib. And it gives you that comfort, when that's why kids love to be in between things, because it gives them that extra cushion, that extra comfort. And so this is what I do. I give you that extra comfort on what's coming in for, some people who are in that journey, which is a lot of my clients who are in that spiritual journey. It's really awakening everyone and how we do it. And so, Alexa, turn off the alarm. And so when we feel that energy, we have where we need to kind of put it into this little crib, and take that moment, take that time, and really focus on certain things, because this energy forecast is just like we take the time before we dress to see if it's going to rain or if it's going to do this or if it's going to do that. And so when that happens, at least we are in tune. So, for example, and I love to this thing is not about me. I like to use examples because I use my tools to conduct my everyday life. And, sometimes like this week, that heavy energy came out boom, strong, and I have to deal with it. Oh my God, it feels like a pain where I was like hunchback and walking and Don Quixote. And my mom like, oh my God, you look like an old lady over there. And then I said, because first of all, that's how I feel with a hunchback and like this. But I'm thinking, I'm not going to be doing that when I'm an old lady. I'm going to be standing up straight and being centered and being balanced. And that's what happens when, like the plants, for example, when a big, huge rainstorm comes and everything just kind of happens. Well, that's when we feel that we have a lot of strong energy coming in every which direction. And especially it was in Cancer. And so when Cancer needs that water energy, we go to after I knew that I needed to put heat. I needed to continue to put on continue my challenge, which was great because I needed that heat to detox deep within me, because starting from the 19th, it was where, during the full moon, it was the 17th, right? And so anything with the full moon or the new moon, and when we're in a moon cycle, we give it the 3 extra days for that power of energy to come in, to absorb it into our body. So we have a choice of either going on one end and feeling sorry for ourselves because of this problem, and we just hurtle up and we cry and we just I can't take this anymore. And so we kind of cave into to how we feel. Or, when you're looking in a bigger thing, it's really our behavior, our pattern, and the way we react is something that we have to analyze. And so a lot of times we don't know, how come we're doing repetitive behavior problems, or how come we repetitive getting tired, or how come we're getting all of this bad luck, or how come we're getting all of this hardship, or how come we, and the list goes on of how come. So we need to change that structure of how can I solve this problem, because we all have problems, but we have to solve it and we have to find that solution. And so that 19th is where I got, boom, hit really, really hard on that Wednesday, where I'm trying on glasses and I'm trying to be patient. And the next thing you know, because of what's happening in society, I get a masking tape going across my nose so my mask will stay down or something. I don't know. At the eye doctor, because I'm doing my eye exam, which I haven't done it for almost 3 years. And so I'm finding a solution because I need to get my eye checked, because that's part of self-care. And so because of all of that happened, and then we were kind of restricted and they have the rules and regulation, and I honor them and I respect them, and I go with the flow, and that's what else can we do, right? And so that happened, and then it was just the sharpest pain, like somebody was stabbing my back, kind of feeling like boom, boom, boom. And that kind of scared me. And so I could have, again, hurtle into my bed and not do yoga and not do my challenge and not doing anything. In fact, I did a full-blown workout on Thursday at 120 degrees that pushed me and pushed me and pushed me to a level of, okay, I'm going to fight this battle with this backache no matter what it is. And guess what? It started to feel better. And then again at night, it was that pain. And so, I thought it was over. Yeah. And I thought I did, great. Jumping into the pool, and my body was great until I started to cook my meal. And I was cooking and I made a great meal. And then I was like, oh my God, I can't even stand up. And so I kind of, put it on the side and just kind of rested. And during that time of rest is when I felt the time to, why is it getting worse? I'm doing what I'm supposed to. I'm pushing my limit to solve the problem. But the real problem is, this is when we have to really look into the destiny for your life, because each day is ticking and we're getting older every single day. It's not by every time our birthday we're getting older. It's every single day that the time is going. And so this is where we have to take, when things are, I'm just using what happened to me this week, but when things happen in a bigger picture, I'm just using what I'm going through this week, is when, and that's why my energy forecast is good, because we can use some of these tools in our everyday life. Maybe it's the kids, maybe it's the education system, maybe it's you and your other half, your kids. Anytime you can use this, because we have to sit down and write in our collective lessons of where we are, and we have to find an answer to be much more stable, because there are some things that we brought in. And when we bring this in to, like, the next year, like we had 2020, 2021, and 2022, and a lot of us brought in, because of the pandemic, we're bringing these emotions, these feelings, these negativities. I can't make any money because of this pandemic, or I don't have a job, or I can't, really figure out my future. Well, this is a time where, because today is, guess what? January 22nd, 2/2. And this is a time when we need to really focus on how we're going to be much more stable, because it was that boom, chaka boom, one after another that hit us, right? And a lot of these things, like I said, in the next 3 to 6 months, there is going to be a lot of uncovering of truth, lies, in all the system going across, whether it's the government system, whether it's the banking system, whether it's, a whole bunch of things is going to start to collapse. It's a whole bunch of them is going to be uneven. It's, the educational system, because everything is all relied on to this outer world of power, control. And so that's going to be battling between this thing, like I was explaining, called free will. Free will equals to your freedom of the way you think, the way you find your solid foundation, and unfolding and unveiling. Because during this pandemic, most were very unaware of where their destiny is. Where are we going to go forward? Am I going to live? Am I going to die? Am I going to lose my job? Is what's going to happen with my family? What's going to happen to my financial? And so that's why when we hit the 19th, it's time for, boom, awaken. The 9 is where we awake and give birth to the next solid number. And so that followed on the 20th, which is giving the light power of energy to make you work and open up your chakra, open up your awakening eye, which we call the third eye. And so this is when we have to go deep into our collective lessons, our practice, because every day I told you, and I mentioned it before, that things doesn't happen like we're lucky. I don't have to do nothing. I can just sit back and relax. Everyone in this universe has a problem. Whether you are a tree, whether you are a person, whether you are a dog, whether you are a cat, whatever. And so this is when we have to create the stability, because things are start to unfold. And when I say unfold, like I said, one of it is the pandemic. And most of us are looking for changes. And when we see that changes, we have to, before we accept that changes and go, rah, 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 I'm on my destiny, I'm on my journey, I'm on my, creation, and we get excited. But we have to also attack the feeling of what was stabbing our back. We feel like there's a bone stuck in our throat when there isn't. But you feel that pressure, that pain, which is an indication that there is some kind of instability in you that is kind of making you uneasy, and that's why you're getting these physical pain, or you finding yourself overstretching. You're feeling your because your body does not lie. You stretch yourself to a point where you could be doing something way too much, or you're ignoring the problem way too much, or you're not confronting the problem. And so we all have this thing where, we kind of really don't want to confront it, because we kind of put it on the back burner. And when that happens, you are holding yourself back for manifesting things. And sometimes when that happens, it's like when we go through like eclipse, which is sometimes known as a quantum leap. So you're still here, and you still have these problems back here. How can you really take that leap of faith when you still have some of these problems that we haven't faced up to? And so when we do that, it's really a time that we need to go and recognize, and kind of where we need to see and confront it and say, listen, you're either going to move forward and confront the issue, confront the problem, and say, listen, just like what happened right now with, for example, June Jones, the University of Hawaii football team. There was all these things that was happening with the students where the coaches were abusing them, per se. I don't know. There was some allegation of that happening. And so, they settled, and he's no longer a coach. So June Jones, who was the one of the most winningest coach for University of Hawaii football team, went to apply. And so he went because that's his passion, that's his love, and he really, proved his point of being a really good coach, and also putting back the energy of the people of Hawaii, because we don't have pro team like LA has, the LA Rams, or, etc. And so LA Lakers, or, things like that I'm using as examples. So we need to go and move forward and confront it. And there was a lot of issues that I needed to confront, that's in my basket, that is kind of in my way. And so everybody has that basket. And everybody put it in the back burner and say, oh, we're going to wash it later, we're going to take care of it later, But the thing, next thing you know, we look at it, it's growing mold, it's getting old. What are you going to do with it? You're going to keep on looking at it and thinking the mold is going to go away? No, it's not. It's just going to increase and increase. And so we need to go and confront and move on, throw it away. Where it's going to go, I don't know. You make the decision, you go and confront it, because it's a heavy energy. And it gives us, when we have this heavy energy that, because not every full moon, or not every new moon, or not every day is going to be, like I said, light feeling, normal feeling, great sunny. It could be days that we have this thunderstorm, heavy cloud, heaviness. And we all go through that. And so this gives us a motivation, and it's really a portal of release, you know. And when sometimes we feel very powerless when we are in that state of mind, because we feel that all these control is being controlled, but you're letting them control it. So you need to regain that power and that empowerment within yourself to start taking control and say, listen, you know what? We can go on and on and on this, for example, business deal. But if you do not respond, how can we go forward? It's just stagnant. And sometimes people do that in purpose because they don't know how to breathe a new air, or sometimes they don't want to let go. There's a saying in Japanese, asho hipparu no, which means somebody could be pulling your leg back, pulling your leg down, so you don't grow. It's just like having plants potted in a small pot, and you're not letting them grow to its full potential. Sometimes that could be anything. Your co-worker, your competitor, even people that's close to you, your friends, your family, your loved ones. And so just really learn how to organize all of this, because having that sometimes may be good because you need somebody to pull you back and get you grounded. And that's why when you feel that tug of war, you know, when we used to play tug of war, who's stronger in this power thing, and so get grounded, because the lower and grounded you are, the more balance you have, whether you do yoga, whether you're doing tug of war, whether you are doing in life. Ground yourself, and that's when your whole body of chakra will be straightened and centered, and your anchor. I used to always use the word anchor yourself down, because even, you know, you imagine a huge anchor can hold back a boat. You know, an anchor means to really anchor yourself down, figure out, you know, and let go, because like I said, sometimes we are not ready to let go, and we kind of put it, okay, next month I'm going to let go. But if it's in your mind, start using your mind, because this is how you work on your mindset. Your mindset is how your emotion, your action, and your control of your body energy, and that energy can sometimes bounce back, like what happened with me with my back pain, because I recognized it. I was like, oh my God. So, you know, yesterday and 2 days ago, I start to go on my computer and start to confront some of these issues that I have with people. You know, whether they're my work or whether there are certain things that I needed to have more in control, whether I have certain subscription that is working for me, or certain platform that is working for me, certain independent contractor that is working for me. I needed to be in control, because this is my destiny. This is my way of life. And so that's when we lose control. You know, every single one, all of us, sometimes when we have too much of a power trip control, it backfires. So you have to have a stable of how you work with it. You know, sometimes you can just say, okay, be nice, and just smile and let it go. But you need to keep your mindset open and listen. And this is what happened when I've been very, very mindful. And especially when working with a Japanese company, you need to be mindful. And there are certain etiquettes and certain way of doing things with them. And I learned that back in my early 20s when I used to work for, Japanese company, huge Japanese company. And that's why I was very, very successful working with a Japanese company in Japan and with Japanese people. Because that is one of really the hardest place to get your business going. And I actually started in Japan, mind you, because my mindset was so Japanese, where I will listen and karaoke, and I will watch the way their mannerism. I will watch certain things, and because my mom is from Japan, number one, and number two, I was invited during the bubble days to a huge Japanese company, and really the people that I met was incredible. And so certain things that I've been able to fall back on those education, those learning lessons, and things like that. So now I can just say, okay, you think you got one up on me? I'm just being very mindful, listening to everything you're saying, seeing your character, seeing the way you do business, seeing the way you treat people, seeing the way you speak, act, because this is all in your tamoshi, your soul. And so that is some of the technique that I learned when you negotiate, or when you are in a high level business position of being the ears, because I have a degree in court interpreting, and so I need to be fine-tuned on not what the outside crowd is talking or this. I need to focus on that one person's freedom of speech. And when I used to do court interpreting, I look like I was like, I have different personality, because I'm talking and doing this and da-da-da-da-da, interpreting this and da-da-da-da, and they're getting mad at me. I said, don't get mad. I'm just being the mouthpiece of this person, what this person is saying. And so I have to interpret that. And so I was lucky that I was able to get that degree in court interpreting, because it's how you interpret things, because everybody have a different point of view. And so if you are able to acknowledge and use that skill to the best of your abilities, whether you are doing it in your work, whether you're doing it in your consulting, whether you're doing it for your coaching, or whether you're doing it for your everyday communication. And so those are the kind of things that even when I had my store, I had to listen exactly what is going on with the dog. So owner thinks this, owner says this. I look at the dog and I'm looking at it and I'm saying, well, you have other problems, huh? So I go in and I speak the language of water. And luckily, Masaru Emoto, it was like a Japanese godfather of how to read the frequency of water through the vibration. And so that's another whole different things. And so really what I do is, the way I interpret things and how I receive messages is through really the frequency, the vibration, and the energy. And so that's why my energy forecast is like a weather forecast, and what to expect this upcoming week, or this upcoming certain full moon, or how the Mercury retrograde is happening. And the Mercury retrograde happened on the 13, 14, all depends on where you are in this world, and it's going to last up to February the 3rd. And so be very conscious about signing contracts. Be very conscious about electrical matters. Be conscious about things being delayed. And so these are certain things that happens during the Mercury retrograde. But we can't always be all paranoid and like, oh my God, then you're going to be unable to move. No, you got to move with that energy, move with the flow, and be on guard on what things could happen and how you can prevent it from happening, right? If the news say it's going to be a blizzard, you're not going to go out there with a t-shirt. You're going to get your heavy coat ready for the blizzard and feel warm and cozy in your comfort, right? It's the same thing. And so that's what I do. And I've been doing it this way. And I don't talk about, sometimes I may talk about the Cancer, sometimes I may talk about Pluto, but my segment is straight up talking my language, which sometimes can be confusing because sometimes I talk pidgin, which is old school plantation day way of talking to communicate, because we have Lily, that's how Hawaii started, and that's how our language is sometimes. So sometimes in the mainland, people don't understand what I'm saying. Like, same smell, they're like, what smell? And I'm like, huh? Certain things, like, that kind, and like, yeah, I know that kind. Because we know what that kind is here in Hawaii. And so, like, if I'm in Japan and I talk a certain way, even in Japan, you can talk Okini, that's Kansai dialect. Tokyo is domo arigatou gozaimasu. And so there is different ways of how we communicate, is how we use it. And sometimes I get an energy of different, ways of talking and describing things. And people are like, she's not talking proper English. Well, I don't. Because my audience is straight across the board of different nationality, different culture, different belief, different everything. I'm talking to one person, and that's called you as a human, and as how we're going to live through this thing called Earth. Because Earth is really going to be a center of what's happening. And a lot of our consciousness is really coming back to the Earth energy. And when I say that is because the people energy of the power and control is going to be something to look out for, because it's heavy, pounding, boom, boom. You got people who is now has a lot of clout, a lot of power, fighting for the people's right, fighting for them to say, hey, you know what you're doing is not right. And so a lot of, like I'm saying, there's going to be a lot of butting heads of all these things because of this pandemic, because the old versus the new on control. And in between us, we need to be motivated to understand on where we stand and be stable, because we're shifting. Like it or not, we're shifting, like how the ATM machine shift into our banking, and now from ATM machine it goes into online, banking. You see, and so all of these financial ways, that's a very good way of these, how our financial system is changing, because that's another thing that we need to look into, because there is another financial thing besides when we go online. We got introduced to Bitcoins. Now there is this NFT where people are making tons and tons of money, but, they're having problems on how to justify it, and how, like this guy, he bought a whole bunch of painting and this and that, and he, on paper, online, it looks like he is a trillionaire, or there's a lot of people who are billionaires and millionaires investing into this NFT. And so all of these currency changing of the system is really the destiny of this cultivating energy from the new world. And people's like, what are you talking about, the new world? Well, it started already. It's not about, it's a conspiracy theory, or it's about this. We are evolving. It's the revolution of evolving. We cannot still be in 1960. We're in 2022. And so things are evolving, revolving, and we need to go with the flow of energy. And so this is kind of like a long segment that I'm doing, because it is describing on exactly what I do, is talking about energy forecasts and how we can use this information, these tools, to implement into our lives. And so if you want to learn more, Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube where I do these talk story, chit chat about different kind of subject that, we go on. I also have our membership room online, as well as our courses, Cocojor courses. We have, our welcome course, which is free to talk about what's going to happen during this 2022 to 2024 quantum leap is huge. And we got to go with the everlasting change and how we're going to see that. So that you can just sign up for that. Once we get that link up, we'll put it somewhere around here. Or you can go to our website at cocojorchannel.com or cocojor.com and get our notification on our newsletter and etc. and what's coming up and when our course is going to start, our mini courses as well as our 30-day EPL, Eat, Pray, and Love Challenge and so forth, as well as our Cocojor Minical Bubble courses, where really it's a DIY course for individual, or if you want to take it to the next level and create your own business, or you have an existing business and you want to put it in, that's all going to be there as well too. So it's really an e-library of multiple different things that we can do online with Cocojor. It'll be ready 24/7, 7 days a week at your comfort of your own space at home. And so stay tuned for more information. And most of all, really, my way of doing it is really just giving information, and it's like an information high zone where you can pick and choose of what you like. Some people would like to know more about gardening. Some people might want to learn more about meditation. Some people might want to learn more about yogatation. Some people might want to learn about cooking. So we have a lot of information in our e-library. And once again, it is for members only. And so you can have access 24/7, 7 days a week. Once again, at the comfort of your own time, your own space, and most of all, your own decision. So you take care. Don't forget to spread the aloha spirit. And don't forget to welcome yourself to this way of seeing things in a different lenses. You take care and aloha.